What's up, media?
I can barely hear you.
I am Josh Hayes, Jamie Ibson, KC Ezell, Chris Kennedy, and of course the one and only, the bald, the beautiful Scott Moon. Welcome everyone to the show. It's great to have you back. And Jamie, welcome to your premiere episode on Keystroke Media.
Yay.
Thank you.
Introducing Jamie Ibson.
Oh my God. No pressure.
Absolutely no pressure at all, but everybody else has had a fantastic show. So now you're
So don't break the streak.
put on the hot seat. Yeah.
That's
Okay,
right.
it's like that.
Whatever you do, be funny.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
pretty well
Don't let us
behaved,
down,
I mean.
Jamie.
We're
Whatever you
well-behaved, well-trained hosts. We stay on topic. We're very professional. It should be no problems.
fine print.
And we never swear.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking not. So whatever you do, Jamie, you cannot wear a flowered shirt on the show. That's number one rule. So sorry about that. You're already in the negative. That sucks. Let's see. Who had the first comment of the day? Oh, that's right. It was me because I cheated last night. So I get the KSM golf clap of appreciation.
I'm clapping under protest.
Let's see. But Charlie Dunn is here. Welcome. Corey Gillum, Rick Partlow. Hello. Bart of Today is with us. Let's see. Patricia said, hello. Keith Taylor's here. Yes, I did trim the beard. Got a little long. I needed to trim it out. Yvonne Jacobs is here. Welcome.
I like the fact that Charlie Dunn's actually driving from the couch because normally he's going across country. So
That's true. That's true.
He
Not in your
deserves some
semi.
rest.
Is it really a keystroke show if Charlie Dunn is not driving a semi across
know.
the
We
great
should-
continental United States?
We should probably plan better. Get it back on the road.
that's our bad as showrunners. And Charlie, go get in your truck.
That's right. That's right. Somebody get his dispatch on the line.
It's going to be a great show, I think. We are celebrating the launch of We Dare No Man's Land, in which I have a story. Kacey has a story. We brought back two excellent characters from the first We Dare anthology, Cage and Carrie, which I personally, of all the short stories that I've written, and I've written a few, I think Cage is probably my favorite character to write. Only because he resembles myself very closely. If I had like a whole bunch of implants and like I don't know,
You're like
laser
cybernetic and
Now, just
awesome.
say
Yeah.
he's dashing and debonair and
Yeah.
I mean, it's true.
It's a stretch.
yeah.
It's true.
Knows how to
likes
hotwire a
hamburgers
crashing
a
ground
lot.
sled.
That is true. I can do that. I can do
Yeah.
that.
And you like hamburgers?
I love hamburgers. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the We Dare series as a whole with Chris and Jamie here in a minute. But first, let's start with our weekly updates. And let's see. Jamie, you're first on the show. So I'm not sure if I want to put you right on the hot seat just yet. So I'm going to go directly to Kacey and let Kacey go first with her update
Aha!
of the week.
Didn't see that coming.
Also, if you didn't know this, Kacey is broadcasting from the future because
Yes.
where she is at, it
I'm
is
coming to you from Wednesday.
it is tomorrow. So
Oh, no, Tuesday.
Right.
I guess
Tuesday.
it's only Tuesday.
I was
here.
like, what day are we?
Really
Neat
coming
trick.
from the future.
Wednesday would be a neat trick.
She's like around. Yeah. So Kacey, what have you been up to this week?
It's been a busy week. So I'm interpreting your question as referring to the last 7 days. Okay.
Yes.
Because in the last 7 days, had two anthologies come out. We Dare No Man's Land, like you talked about. And then on the 1st of June, also We Shall Rise from Bane, which is the third Black Tide Rising anthology, came out. And Jamie also has a story in that one, don't you, man? Yeah. So,
Awesome.
team, I guess
Well,
you're over here on my
and-
screen.
Yeah.
And Larry announced the lineup for the next noir book.
Yes, Larry announced the lineup for the next Noir Fatale, the sequel to Noir Fatale, which is called No Game for Knights. And it's about the detective archetype. And Chris Kennedy has a story in that one, and it's
Nice.
amazing. And you guys should all buy it when it comes out, like, well,
You
in the
should.
future. Yeah.
I had the most fun writing it.
You know, I heard
It was
the
a good
title
story.
No
It
Game
was
for
a really good
Knights
story.
like 4 times before I realized there was a K at the beginning of Knights.
Yeah.
Because Knights Noir, it's like kind of like that.
It works both
everything's
ways, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It's a
Knigget.
Yeah, Knigget.
Yes. But in
Bring me a
addition
shrubbery.
to those 3 things happening, my kid graduated from high school.
Hey,
So,
nice.
yeah. So congrats to her. Yeah. So it's been a busy week. It's been a
Awesome.
good week.
How's your writing
But
going?
most importantly, I get to be here on KSN.
I mean,
Actually,
that's
the writing's going really well. Yeah, the writing's going really well, even for being as busy as it was. Right now, I am working on about 7 projects. No, I'm just kidding. It's really only like 3.
The smallest number ever.
I was about to say, somebody's got more projects going on than Scott. We have to document this.
No, they're like,
It happens.
well, it's 3 that I'm actively writing on this week. It's like there's a longer list that's like hanging on my wall that we're not going to talk about right now. But I've been working on Ally, which is the final book of the sort of Depic arc within the Four Horsemen universe. So Marisa Wolf and I are writing that. So I've been working on that one. Been working on, I guess it's 4. Been working on finishing up a salvage title book with Kevin Steverson. That one is super close to done. You should get that hopefully next week, Chris. And then, so those are the 2 novels. And then I've been working on a short story for Rob Howell's, one of the anthologies for New Mythology Press, the Beast anthology. So I'm taking our braided story concept, Josh, and I'm cheating on you with another friend who's
Wow.
So,
Now
we
we
lost
know.
Josh.
Wow.
There goes
Yeah, so
a broken man.
is he really not going to come back?
Look at those legs. Woo!
Yeah, those are nice legs.
Nice legs, Josh. Woo!
Do you feel betrayed? I'm sorry.
Stabbed straight through the heart.
And I was
In
hoping you
public,
guys
no
were
less.
going to turn Carrie Engage into a novel. I guess not, huh?
But
Maybe.
I'm gonna cry under my desk.
Well, with Josh being brokenhearted and all.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Devastated.
Maybe that's the premise. Maybe Carrie and Gage like get mad at each other and like then have to.
There we go.
You can write a romance novel, Josh.
Plotting.
That's true. That's true. Let's see. Chris, what have you been up to this week, man?
Well, I finished a novel for the Kane Riordan Lawless universe. I thought I was finishing the story Respect. That's what I'd been calling it all along. And Chuck renamed it yesterday to Insertion. So I'm not sure if I shouldn't publish it under Wild Stallions.
Oh,
Yeah.
You definitely should.
Oh,
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but so that's the second story in the second
Sequel
half
could
of
be
this year.
double insertion.
You can always put like tactical in
Ooh.
front of it to make it
Tactical.
well.
Spicy
Never mind.
Wild Stallions.
A pass.
You know, Mike Massa gets Assault. Griffin Barber gets Infiltration. I get Insertion.
Or the win.
I said, well, all right, Chuck. I'm not sure that's. Wow, I'll just hang that up on my wall, and everyone will be like,
Yeah.
"What the hell is
A
wrong?"
novel
with
by
him?"
Chris Kennedy, titled by Chuck Gannon.
Yeah. Could
But anyway,
could be a Chuck Dingle
so-
book.
Yeah, so that I finished that. I'm working on a story for the next Expanding Universe anthology that Craig Martell's doing, which I'm in there. And the big news is this week is the conclusion of my series, The Theogony, which is a trilogy of trilogies. The final book launches this week, and I could not be more excited. I also could not be more sad. It's 11 books over 8 years, and it's bittersweet to bring it to a close, but it's nice to be an author that finally finished something.
True.
Look at all the authors that never finished anything. I'm going to have something finished.
That's awesome.
Hashtag goals.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
Well, now that we've warmed up a little bit, Jamie, what have you
Yeah.
been up to this week?
Well, right now, Casey Moores and I are working on a novel for Four Horsemen. I've been told it's not going to be called Buff Orpington and the Moonbase Massacre. So instead, we're working with a couple different titles.
Insertion 2 is open.
Well, apparently, yeah.
Double penetration.
Yeah, there we go.
Penetration, that's right.
Okay, so we're not going to call it that either. And then midweek, I kind of got ambushed a little bit by Quincy Allen. Quincy and I have been discussing a little bit, me working with him on this fantasy project that he's working on, and we talked about it, and boom, story appeared in my head, and that's going to go into submission for the Monsters and Beasts anthology for Rob Howell.
Awesome.
As far as releases are concerned, obviously We Dare came out and We Shall Rise came out on the 1st. That's the Black Tide novel, Black Tide Rising anthology. I got to write Canadians, post-apocalyptic, post-zombie Canadians after Mother Nature has done her thing, and now we've got a bunch of frozen hosers clearing west from our NORAD base, actually, in Northern Ontario.
That's awesome.
But they arrive at that most Canadian of cities, Moose Jaw. They encounter swamp donkey kaiju along the way and Canada geese and all kinds of stuff. So I like that story a lot. I got to put a couple of friends, actually, of mine into this story from when I was in the reserves up here. And that was good. And otherwise,
that's funny. I did the same thing with my We Dare story, Jamie.
Did you really?
I put my friends in it. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and with that one, with We Shall Rise, the idea was that we're kind of past the crisis point and into rebuilding stage, right? And so I got to do a bit of research on how the Canadian Army actually does things, because we're tiny. Right, obviously, I assume most of your, thanks, Chris. I assume most of your viewers are going to be American.
Somebody's in trouble. I'm just telling it right now. Somebody's getting in trouble.
The Army in Canada, would fit on Fort Bragg all by itself and be outnumbered, I think, 2-1. So, we're not talking, apples and apples when we're comparing militaries. So it's a very different kind of a sense of things up here. But do what we do, and it was a fun story to write. So,
awesome.
Yeah,
fantastic. Scott, what about you, buddy?
I was actually just learned from somebody's, can't remember how we got this conversation, from somebody's teacher, that Fort Bragg is currently surrounded by Russian tanks, but I haven't seen any proof. That's just what I heard.
What?
I don't know. We're talking about crazy things that substitute teachers say, and that was one of them, says that Fort Bragg is surrounded by Russian tanks right now. I don't think so. I'm skeptical of that particular one.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about the flat Earth quite a bit, which my kids get a kick out of. So, so this week I worked on no surprise, Orphan Wars 3, about 53,000 on it. I worked on Blue Sun Armada 2. Which I've been making good progress. It's at about 32,000 right now. I've been doing a couple thousand a day on it. I went up to help so my grandmother passed away last summer, and she was an avid antique collector for the last 50 years. And we've had 14 auctions. And with every auction, I've moved stuff from kind of the antique store, which is called the Reddish Barn, because her last husband's name was Reddish. And it's a red barn, very clever. But so I moved for a solid day, all day long. All I did was move books from the attic of the barn over to the Morton building next to it. And it's still not even close to being done.
Wow.
Jeez.
It's just ridiculous.
Wow.
How much, if you go to auctions and garage sales for 50 years, you can accumulate lots of things. And the thing is, a lot of them are nice stuff too. That's what's really crazy.
Having the barn must have been really convenient then.
Yeah, well, it's actually 3 barns. There's the barn, and then there's the house, which is packed, and it's a big house. And then there are 2 Morton buildings, which are bigger than the barn. And then there are a series of antique, what do you call them? Those, you buy a booth in an antique mall.
Yeah.
They had 20 of those across the state. So it's kind of ridiculous.
Wow.
But so we've been doing that for 2 years. And my back is very sore from that, but we've made a lot of progress. I took my kids up there, and they were allowed to work for money, and so they were very excited. My youngest, my 10 and 13-year-old, and we got done with the whole day. They made me very proud. They worked hard. I was worried, but they got done, and they just wanted to work more. And then we get ready to leave, and my 10-year-old says to my mom, "Now I'm unemployed."
Nice.
I thought that was
That's
great.
funny.
So that was really
That is
cool. I
funny.
mean, it's kind of sad because it's been a family gathering place for a long time, and it's going to be gone by July.
Mm.
So I'm not quite sure where we're going
Yeah.
to meet up in Nebraska after this. So I did that. Work is work, and just crazy stuff. Starting the summer, which I really like having the kids around a lot. So that'll be great. We may go to the pool later.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's always a
Nice.
good excuse to go to the pool. Like, I have kids, they want to go to the pool. I've got to jump around and splash, but it's all for the kids. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's not fun for me at all.
Yeah, it's not as much. Well, my youngest, like last year, he was still small. If I could throw him in the air, and I would say I can't throw you anymore. I just can't do it. You're too big now. So. And then I've been working with Plottr, which Josh knows. Last night, I had
Yes.
technical stuff, but I've been kind of having good results with voice dictation, and I'm going to use Plottr to kind of do my pre-book writing stuff. I'm excited about that, and just trying new things and trying to kind of refine that process.
Yeah.
Be a little bit more productive so I can retire someday.
That's always a good goal.
Yeah.
Let's see. What have I been up to real quick? I have. So, We Dare 3 got published. That's cool. I've got a story in there. Tranquility 1 comes out tomorrow. And I just saw the paperback spread. Devin sent me a picture, and it looks fantastic. It's great. I can't wait to get my hands on it. That book is out tomorrow, along with the audiobook. And I don't know what Amazon's doing now, but they've got their shit under control because the Whisper Sync is already ready, and the add-on for the audiobook is only $1.99. So you can get the paperback for 99 cents and then get the Audible version for $1.99, and that's a steal in my book for both.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's awesome.
So that's cool. I submitted a story for the Beasts, and I can't remember what the other thing was for the new fantasy imprint. Rob Howe, I sent Rob a message. So
Great. Now we're competing, are we?
I'm hopeful. I said, please, pretty please. And I also said, look, I'm under the word count. I'm under it.
We're gonna have to let Rob know just how big a deal that really is.
I said,
The
yeah,
steps been detected, and then he
Notice that he didn't send that to me under the word count.
he said
Send it to somebody else.
He said it was 7,000 to 10,000. I said, look, just FYI, I'm under. Okay, I get it. I'm under the word count, but Chris might find it funny because I'm always over everything else, so it like evens out almost. So he said, no, it doesn't.
can you
We're not keeping like
Can
a
you put
running
it-
tally.
Yeah, it's not like a running tally.
Okay, how much were you under this time, Josh?
I was under by 1,000.
Okay, so
Can you
in
put up
total, you're
both
now
hands?
only over about 15,000.
your lifetime violation is still very high.
That's true. That's true. That's
Josh,
my
if it
bad.
makes you feel better, the last Four Horsemen story that I turned into Chris was like 23,000 words?
Yes. See?
That's good for hanging out with
we
Josh.
had one of the new authors turned in an anthology story that was 9,998.
That's
like,
amazing.
Good
That's
job.
some clean editing. That's some good
You're
editing.
under. Yeah.
I do
You're in
think
there.
that I'll be able to get my salvage title short story in under 10. It's planned out. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I'm right there. On the cusp.
15,000 up to 16, up to 17, up to 18.
That's my bad.
But they're always good words. I mean,
9,900, and then an asteroid just pulverizes everybody's stories over.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say they're always good words, and we always use them because they're good. So
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
we just don't pay you extra.
I know. I know.
That's right. That's
You're working for free then.
that's what I've been telling people who for the noir stuff. It's like I will happily take your 11,000 word story. However, I can only afford to pay you for 10,000 of those words. So
Right. Absolutely. Like I said, I think I'm on track. I'm really close. I've been doing a lot of transcription and walking, and I think last week I dictated and transcribed a little over 8,000 words. including all the edits and everything that I'm working on. Tranquility 2. My process kind of I wake up and do edits and rewrites till noon, and then I go for an hour walk and dictate about 2,000 words. Drop those into the folder, and then press on. It's working out really well. I'm learning a lot, and I'm not at the Kevin J. Anderson level of dictation yet, but I'm slowly creeping up. And I think that's it. That's it for me. Let's see who else is in the chat. Scott McGlasson finally showed up to the chat. Hello,
Finally,
Scott.
come
Welcome. Jeez. I mean, we start the same time every day. Kayleen, what's up? How are you? Let's see. I think I missed somebody in here. I thought I did, but now I don't see their name. Anyway, if I missed you, I'm sorry. Welcome to the show. Facebook user, good morning. You all start the show during my other meeting. Frustrated noises. All the happy faces. True. Very true.
That kind of looks like a Marisa Wolf comment.
Let me see.
I'm wondering if that's Marisa Wolf.
Oh, let me see if I can figure out just who, in fact, it was. It was Dan Bridgewater. Hello, Dan.
Oh, Dan. Hi, Dan.
Close.
Okay.
Close to Marisa.
And Mia Cleave says, I don't know of anyone at the KJA level of dictating. I'm definitely not there. Definitely not.
It's Dan Bridgewater comment. That's funny.
He also pays a
That's
transcriptionist,
fantastic.
so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I do mine through Dragon. What I found out, because I use Dragon 15 Pro individual, and that's how I can do
This is a neat trick if you're going to talk about what I think you're talking about.
Yeah. In our other writer group, James Aaron found this out or knew about it and shared it with us. Normally what I do is I take my little recorder, plug it into the computer, transfer the files, and then do the transcription. It spits out the words on paper. I take them and I drop them in the Scrivener. But sometimes, if you've ever done any kind of transcription, you're like, what in the hell did I just say? The orange apple jumped off the chimney makes no sense at all. What was I saying? And then I have to kind of take it in context and figure it out. However, in the Dragon 15 Pro, if you open it in Dragon WordPad, you can highlight the section that you have no idea what it is, and it will read it to you what you dictated. And so you can hear your words and go, okay, that's what I said. And
That's a
figure it
neat
out
trick.
that way. Yeah.
So I've only done the dictation in Dragon transcription once. It worked like mad. I got 3,000 words, not the actual prose, but scheming out like the second half of the novel and the progression and everything. And yeah, trying to convince Dragon to understand Four Horsemen when you haven't trained it to, it's an exercise in frustration. So I ended up, listening and just edit. And I mean, not once did it get my protagonist's name correct.
I usually...
But being able to hammer out the second half of the novel and then have it, be transcribed into something that I can at least kind of glance and be like, okay, I think I know what that means, and then use that to figure out my next scenes. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
I bet you were looking at a lot of boots. He went out in the boot.
Out in the boot.
There was a lot of boots.
It was boots.
Dragon kept writing down boots.
23 minutes and 45 seconds. That's how long I lasted. All right. Good to know for future.
You like Dragon dictating, eh?
Uh-huh. Hey. Whatever, buddy.
And then that's how we get banned from YouTube. Come on.
Yeah, here we go. That was the neat trick. Like, so trick number one was finding out that Dragon could transcribe audio files. I had no idea. That makes a big difference. When I tried using Dragon and watching my words appear on the screen, it was like, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. Go back and fix that. And I spent 4 times as much fixing what it had tried than actually. So instead, if I just talk into my phone as I go, then I can just dump the file and then correct afterwards, and that worked like crazy. The other thing that came up this past week or maybe the week before was when Kacey started using a writer bot on Discord, and oh my God, being able to fire up a sprint and say, all right, I'm going to sprint for 20 minutes, start it in 2 minutes, and here's my starting word count. It becomes a game because you're competing against your previous bests and trying to be more. And it's a great way to trick my brain into thou shalt write and do nothing else for the next 20 minutes. Otherwise, it's just chasing squirrels the whole friggin' time. So between those two, I've had a tremendously productive week or two.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going to mention that too. So that whole sprinting thing, I got that from an author named Sarah Cannon. She writes YA fantasy. And I actually found her through like the planner, like paper notebook planner type community, because I'm kind of obsessed with those, and I watch those types of YouTube videos. Yeah, squirrel, totally. So I watch planner videos on YouTube when I need to have background noise or whatever, And so I found this chick. She's a writer, and she does like planning for writers. She has, actually a bunch of really useful products. Like she's got like a Plot Your Novel workbook that I've tried out and have enjoyed, and I'm going to use, for a little while at least. And she has a Discord channel, and so I joined her Discord channel, and it's a very friendly, wonderful place. Everyone's super supportive and awesome. And she does writing sprints on there and invites her fans who are also writers to join in. And I was like, this is brilliant. I have a Discord server. Let's see if my friends want to sprints with me.
And the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing that I found about it is that like you can customize the time, right? So like I tried the Pomodoro method a couple years ago, and it worked, but it only worked when I was in the right like level of, I've eaten, I've slept, it's, this time of day, the stars are aligned, my kids are somewhere else, and I could sit and be like, okay, now, yeah, exactly. I have the headspace to do 20 minutes and then take 5 minutes off and do whatever. But the thing that's great about the writer bot in Discord is that you can set the sprint for however long you want it. So like the other night, it was like first thing in the morning for Rob Howell. He's on Discord. I'm on Discord. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? We decided to do a couple sprints. We did like 3 10-minute sprints, and he got like 700 words to start the day. And I think I did too, Nice. And I mean, I was getting ready to go to bed, but as I get more tired, my attention span goes like shorter and shorter, but I can still take that time and be productive with it for like a little nugget, a little chunk of time. And anything that's not zero, like any day you go to bed and in my paper planner, I have a little column where I keep track of my daily word count. Any day that's not zero, that's a win, right? So
absolutely.
A
couple of months ago, Scott got 7 words in one day. Just
I did. I logged
want to
it
have a
too.
0. Yep.
And I put on
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
They were
that's
good
right.
words,
not,
man.
Yeah, they're my favorite 7 words of the day.
Not nothing.
They were.
I also give myself credit for doing writing related tasks too, though. Like editing stories for the anthology, or plotting a new book. I'll give myself credit.
It's part of the work. It's part of
the
work, whether you're pushing towards the end or whether you're setting yourself up for success later.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Still a vital part.
I also track writing time, and then I track like the business of writing time.
Yeah.
Just so I don't feel like a loser if I had a bad day on the word count.
Sure. And the other thing too is like I'm kind of trying to figure out, because I mean my process is always changing, right? Like that's one of the things I'm always fascinated with writers and just creative people in general. Like what's your process? And Chris, I've asked him several times, like, so when do you actually write? Like, what time? I know he writes in the morning, and then he does business stuff and publishing stuff in the afternoon. At least he did the last time we talked about it. And I'm really interested in this because I know what works for me now. While I have a full-time job that has weird hours and crazy schedules and stuff, but I'm getting ready to retire from the Air Force next summer, and I'm going to write full time. And I'm interested to see.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm interested to see what my day is going to look like. Like, am I going to be a morning writer? Am I going to be an afternoon writer? How many words am I realistically going to get in a day where it's going to be productive and good words? And then I still have work day time to do writing adjacent tasks like marketing and sending out newsletters and promotions and stuff like that. So
I always find that, if I don't write in the morning, it never gets done, because then life will come in over here, or something will come over here, and hey, we need to go do this thing. And, before you know it, it's the end of the day and you're like, well, I was gonna write, but I had good intentions. I had an idea, so I always start, put the words down in the morning, and then you can go do all the rest of the stuff.
See, in my case, I do it exactly backwards. I do it exactly backwards. I don't ever.
Well, you're Canadian. You should.
True.
No, okay. Thanks. But I don't ever sleep well. I never have. And since retiring from the Redcoats in January, we moved across the continent, and then we're like, all right, I'm going to write full time. And then we moved into this new house, and it needed a lot of work. And I was finding that, whole weeks would go by and I hadn't made any progress on anything, right? Like I had planned to have the Myrmidons MS2U in December, and then the move thing came along and happened, and then it ended up being months. And so Michelle and I sat down and we said, all right, here's what we're going to do. Monday to Friday, the mornings are going to be work on the house, or errands or stuff that needs getting done. And we kept a list, and then we're like, all right, these are tasks, like this is a 1 hour thing, this is a 3 hour thing, whatever it was. We would carve out, Monday through Friday mornings for straightforward stuff that just needed to get done. And then afternoons and evenings, which is easier for me because I don't have kids. But afternoons and evenings are writing time. And then Saturday is the big project day. Saturday is the day where we wallpapered the entire dining room, or I built a bookshelf in the room that will eventually become like the library and stuff like that. But that way, like we can see progress on all fronts, but we get very protective about those times and getting stuff done, when we're scheduling it to get it done. And I might not know on tomorrow morning what I'm going to do when I wake up, but I've got a list that I can just, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And then the trick for that for me has been keeping track of all the stuff that we have accomplished too, right? We don't just scratch it off the list. We put a check mark and a happy face, and then just keep it on my phone so that I can copy it, drag it to the bottom of the list. And now I've got like a 5-page list of all the stuff that we've accomplished with all these times since we started keeping track. And that's how we know that we're kind of moving towards that goal of being able to say, we're pretty good at this point. And
I think one of the hardest.
I find I have to do that with my writing projects, because I have so many writing projects, and it's, when I look at them, I have a list so that I don't lose things and I don't forget things. But the list is, to be honest with you, a little fucking overwhelming, right?
Like kind of overwhelming.
Shit. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot on there, and I am not a girl who's very good at saying no. Just ask my husband, right? So like the list just gets longer and longer. I cannot believe you guys just let that one go.
Chris,
what was the name of that book that I just finished?
Obviously, it worked out well for him.
So, anyway,
what did you want to call it, Kacey?
Penetration. I'm always in favor of penetration. So, but yeah,
overwhelming penetration.
Overwhelming, long list.
This podcast took a dramatic turn.
No kidding.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. So I also have
somebody's wins, right?
Keep track of somebody did. Yes.
That was Dan Bridgewater.
That does make me happy. Dan Bridgewater.
Speaking of Marissa, she says, "Oh dang! Look at this collection of superstars." Welcome.
Meanwhile, Yvonne is going to need a shower after everything Kacey's saying.
Oh my god.
Lou a little bit ago said it's okay, and he arrived, and he got here just in
good.
the
Thanks,
time.
Lou.
Let me tell
we were worried about you. We were. Yeah.
We're now calling this the spicy keystroke medium.
That's right. That's right. And William Joseph Roberts showed up.
Keystroke medium after dark.
Dragon does not translate hillbilly, apparently. I'm not. It's interesting. We talk about making that transition to full-time writing. One of the things I found, and I wonder if you guys found the same thing, is that it's hard making that transition.
Oh, yeah, it's hard.
It's hard making that transition, not just for you, because you've got to focus now and do the writing and it's not just a hobby. But then it's hard to get everybody else on the same page because you're home, you're available, right? Like for your whole life. Oh, you're home, you're available to do things and go do this and help with that. And you're like, nah, but I've got to do this. And like, but it's writing. You could do that anytime and blah, blah, blah. No.
Well, that was exactly the talk that Michelle and I had was that, you know, after weeks had gone by and I'd maybe written 1,000 words, you know, hold up, like if writing is my full-time job now, then then that suggests that I may be spending somewhere in the neighborhood of
like a job.
Yeah. You know, and again, like with not having kids, basically, you know, the cats are demanding because of course they are. But we've built me an office upstairs, right? And this is where I can go and be away from the rest of the house. And sometimes Michelle will call me on my phone and be like, "Hey, listen, I don't want to interrupt and everything, but I got to interrupt because this is a thing and I need your help."
Yeah.
And so we've been able to establish, you know, the boundary and be like, all right, you know, is this urgent? If it is, cool, we'll deal with it.
Right.
But otherwise, we're going to add it to the list.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through that when they go full time because you know what you're supposed to be doing in order to do your job, but you know everybody around you doesn't always know what you have to do your job, nor how they're, you know, just coming by and yelling at you every 5 minutes just interrupts the flow.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm lucky in that I'm naturally like a squirrel distracted type. And so it doesn't take a lot for me to be able to get back into the writing groove of things. Talking to Kevin Steverson a week or two ago, and he was saying how when he's in his groove, if he gets disrupted by some outside thing, it's going to take him an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours before he can kind of like get back into the groove and really, and I mean, I can just imagine how difficult that would be if that's somebody's writing process, you know, and just like scattered in all directions.
100%.
So.
And you wonder why he writes at 3 a.m. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's an overnight writer.
I woke up the other day and he's like, "Oh man, it's 7:30. I'm going to bed finally, but I'm sending this off to Kacey first." And I'm that's hardcore.
Yeah.
I used to get up at 3.
Yeah, it's awesome. I wake up and
because you're looking for a time when you know it's going to be quiet. But like Josh, we had this conversation when Carter was still a baby. Is like you get up at 6, but then they get up at 6. Then you get up at 5:30, and then they get up at 5:30. Like how far can we go with this? Person you're up at 4, and the kids are getting up at 4.
Right.
You know, they just follow you.
That boy's still awake. This morning he woke up at 6:15, and I'm like, no.
You're a child. Sleep till 11. Do your duty.
Let's talk about We Dare.
Okay.
Because
we're only 40 minutes into the show.
Hey, this is what we do here. You know, we may or may not get to the topic at hand. That's just how we.
I was told you guys are very punctual and strict about staying
100. But this is the most strictest show you've ever been on in your entire life.
Also the most grammatically correct.
True. Look at this. Lou Holston said, "Keystroke after dark. Less keys, more strokes."
Keys, more strokes. Yes.
The best.
Well done, Lou. Well done.
I see an anthology in the future.
That's right. That's right.
Oh snap!
Oh snap!
I know a romance publisher.
Yeah. So We Dare. Jamie and Chris, you guys came up with the maybe it was Jamie that came up with the idea and then worked with Chris to do the publishing. Well, you've done 3 so far. They've been really big hits in the anthology space. This last one, No Man's Land, focuses on female protagonists and had an all-star lineup. I couldn't believe when I saw the lineup on it. Let's talk about it. Where did it come from, and then where do you guys see it going?
So I messaged Chris one day. So do you have any plans for a sci-fi or mil sci-fi anthology outside of the Four Horsemen where somebody could submit something that wasn't 4HU? And Chris said,
"Sure, as soon as you go ahead and do it."
I had published 3 stories at that point.
Yeah.
And I like had a blue screen of death moment. Short stories. Yeah, no novels, just short stories. I had a blue screen of death moment, and I was like, let me think about it. That was on Friday. By Sunday, it was one of those funny things where, you know, Facebook's reading your mind. Because there was a Will Smith video that came up where he's talking about the power of saying yes. And it was him telling the story of how he got invited to be on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And so, yeah, it was like, you idiot, of course you have to say yes.
Right.
If you say no, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So I did. I said yes, with the caveat that I don't know what I'm doing. And Chris said, it's not that hard. You're going to be fine. I'll walk you through it. And so the two of us worked on it, invited a bunch of folks that were known to CKP, and everybody, was super understanding with the novice editor, and knowing that I was backstopped by some people who did know what they were doing. And so We Dare 1 came along, where the theme was augmented humanity. It was about implants and cyborgs and brain chips and genetic modification and making humans more than human, kind of a thing, right? That's a very cyberpunky kind of a topic, the transhuman idea, where we take the baseline and advance it. And we got some great stories out of that. I had a lot of fun. A year later,
and I need to interject.
Okay.
Jamie did a great job with that.
I was going to say, I got
And-
editing notes back from Jamie on my story, and I was impressed. Like he
Jamie
provided
jumped
really
on
good
that.
notes.
And I knew when I hit him with the, as soon as you do it, he'd be like, ah! And it would be a make or break moment for him.
Yeah.
Because he was either going to say yes, and he was going to full throttle his career and jump right in and level up probably 2 or 3 times. It wasn't just a single level up; it was several. And I was kind of curious to see how he was going to handle it. And when he got back to me, he was like, "Yes, I know I should say yes, and I'm going to say yes." And he jumped right in and took it on. And I had planned to give him more help than I did. But a couple things came up in life, and Jamie didn't stop just because Chris stopped talking to him. He just, pressed on ahead and did a wonderful job. And I'd come in and maybe realign a little bit here and there. But, the We Dare series has been, Jamie's, baby from the start, and he's done a wonderful job with it.
And
I
Marissa
will
Wolf on
say, if
Facebook, says second and third Jamie being an excellent story editor. Seriously, so inciting. This from Marissa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if I'd known Maya, yes, warning, do not ask publishers questions that sound like ideas, because you will be put in charge of said idea. Yeah.
She also is an editor of.
I know
say-
about that, right?
That sounds like the voice of experience right there.
Yeah. So yeah, we did the Cyborg anthology. Then we did the Semper Paratus anthology, which is Always Prepared. I came up with that idea not knowing that Semper Paratus was the motto for the U.S. Coast Guard. I was thinking of it in terms of I'd heard it because it's actually a reserve unit motto for one of the other reserve units in southwestern Ontario. But I was thinking about it from prepper culture kind of a thing, right? You've got to be prepared. And in particular, thinking about the CDC releasing things saying, look, if you can plan to survive a zombie apocalypse, you will be able to handle any real world disaster that comes along. And so I sent the idea out. We got a whole bunch of really cool ideas back. We did get zombies. I thought John Osborne's, well, what if Y2K really did go the way that everybody thought that it might? I thought that was a terrific idea. I loved Rob Hampson's story that got the cover with the Waffle Shack.
That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Magic comes back, and now it's always Dragon Con in Atlanta. That was.
There is no Atlanta, only Dragon Con.
Yes, exactly. So that was fantastic. And then for No Man's Land, Chris actually came to me with that idea. And there was stuff in the news that was talking about there not being enough female protagonists in sci-fi and not enough female writers in sci-fi. And I'm going, are you reading the same books I am?
Right.
Yeah.
Nope.
Apparently not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. So that was full speed ahead. Let's correct the record a little bit, and sent it out. Chris was able to send out invites to people that I wouldn't have thought to invite because I don't tend to think in that scale. But yeah, I mean, I think I saw Rick Partlow in the chat earlier, and he sent us an awesome story that was part of a pre-existing universe that he's got. I'm going to pull up the manuscript, make sure that I get the universe for that right.
So I'm just going to read off the
Acheron series. But yeah, go ahead.
It's Marissa Wolf, Rick Partlow, AK or Amy Duboff, Jamie Ibson, Marie Whitaker, Griffin Barber, Joel Presby, Chris Kennedy, Sarah A. Hoyt, Quincy J. Allen, Melissa Althoff, Jonathan Brazzi, Rachel Ockux, me, and Kacey.
Here's Rick.
I seeing the lineup, I was like, I can't believe I'm included in that list because that's a crazy list.
It's a pretty kick-ass list, yeah.
It's a great list, and we were able to get a couple newer people in there. Melissa Althoff is new. She's very good. A friend of Kacey's, and Kacey always, hey, I've got
you should write stories now.
Hey, don't shake your finger at that.
She actually came from
that's
Boy
how I
Casey.
got in. That's how I got into Battleuna. Kacey was like, hey.
Yeah, we're into like second and third and fourth generation friends of friends getting.
That's right.
Invited.
That's right.
Melissa got the invite. She had been in Songs of Valor. Which was fantasy for Fantasy, and she wrote an incredible story for that. And I was like, junior author, this would be a good chance to shine. How'd you like to do this? And
by the way, the due date is passed.
So we need it like yesterday.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And so that was the thing was I'm not going to say who, but there was a couple folks who had to bow out just at the last minute.
Yeah.
And we still had the slots available. And so, I'm like, okay, who do we know who could turn out a really clean, really kick-ass story in a hurry? And Kacey, you pointed me at Griffin Barber, and Griffin had me a story, I think, in like 6 days, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was
Melissa was, a little behind Griffin, but not much, and it was fantastic. And so, boom, the whole thing just like, it came together like Voltron, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So, I just want to point out that for the third anthology, Kacey and I got our stories in before the deadline.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Yes, you did.
We did for the first one too, by like 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
It was
Count it.
Yeah. I still remember it. Like, that was a little stressful.
You think it was stressful?
Jamie.
Kacey and I were on Zoom at 11:30 at night going, how are we?
You used to have a buddy in the Navy that would say, if it ain't due today, it ain't due.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
If they wanted it tomorrow, they'd have made the deadline tomorrow.
So where do you think you're going to do more?
Yes.
Where do you see this going?
Well, the trick is picking themes that are going to appeal to the folks that know and love the We Dare stuff and CKP in general.
Yeah.
So we were having a Zoom chat, and somebody pitched the idea.
Here's Jamie trying to be tactful.
Yeah.
Everyone
be
tactful.
coy. Let's be coy.
We're not certain whether this was such a great idea, but one of the ideas that was pitched was the theme was just going to be called "And Then It Got Weird."
I love that idea.
The question is, what the hell does that mean, right? And Chris and I have talked a couple of times about this, and I'm still not sure that I've sold him on the idea. The idea for that would be it's military sci-fi in a mundane world where there's no magic, there's no paranormal, there's no anything, and then something weird happens that breaks what we know about physics. Whether that's like Cthulhu pops through a wormhole or whatever, no idea.
When Josh turns into a story under the word count, I mean, that's pretty weird.
Stranger things have happened. Not many, but stranger things have happened.
He said weird, not super weird.
Not impossible.
So there's that one, and then the other idea that I had was to call it something along, and I think Star Wars has already kind of yoinked this, but scum and villainy, and the story would be either bounty hunters or their targets. Right, where you've got to have something of that effect in some kind of intergalactic, interstellar setting, Otherwise, it's the easiest thing in the world for some scumbag to go commit an atrocity in this star system and then go hang out somewhere else and get away with it more or less, right?
I'm not going to say this with any type of underhanded, any type of let's make a deal, but Gage would make a really good bounty hunter, and I happen to know a partner of his that may or may not also.
I know. And
considering
that we've already
Jamie really wanted the and then it got weird, and Chris really wanted the wretched hive of scum and villainy,
right?
And, might have been a little bit of pushback.
Jamie's like, oh, but come on, man, this is really cool. So we put it out to the factory floor to say, here's a poll. What do you think?
And it was really close.
And the wretched hive of scum and villainy won by 2 votes. It was like 47 to 45. So
nice.
It wasn't a mandate either way.
Yeah,
so
it was really tight.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
What
she said.
Hey.
But
that's what he said.
Let's just take a minute to thank Chris for keeping us on track and
yes. So anyway, at this stage, I'm probably just going to go. All right, Jamie, you pick.
Nice.
Yeah, we might do both.
You heard it here first. There you go. Also a good option.
Yeah, why not both?
Just
two things can be true.
Exactly. Embrace the power of and.
Always say yes, Chris. That's the rule.
That's
I thought I just did, but okay.
Well, that's awesome.
I mean, they're both good topics, and maybe that they'll be 4 and 5. Although whether it's one and then the other, or the other way around, they're both great topics.
And I saw that on the 2 fantasy ones that you're doing for the new imprint, that you're having basically 4 submissions for new CKP authors. Is that something you would look at doing with the We Dare series, having some open slots to submit for, or?
Yeah,
now that it's got a bit of an establishment to it, and people are interested in the series, I'm open to the idea for sure.
And I've had several people ask me if the next one would be open, and I think it's time for it. One of the hallmarks of CKP has always been to try and give new authors a chance. Give them a leg up, and typically, with almost all of the 4 Horsemen ones, we've given 2, 3, 4 slots away. This next one has 5 that were submitted ones, and I think that's important.
And we did that a little bit with the first and the second We Dares as well, right? Yeah. Like Jack Clemens had never written anything before We Dare 1, and then he turned in a kick-ass cyberpunk story.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, we need to talk.
Yeah,
it was super
and then life
too.
happened.
So dark.
Yeah, the ending where he's like, yeah, but that's not who I'm here for. I was like, that's wow. Yeah. So that, and then in Semper Paratus, Brent Roeder was relatively new to writing. He did publish 1 or 2 things before, and people loved Bob from LA. That was one of the most popular stories out of the whole bunch of them.
I am Bob from LA.
Yeah. And when I talked to him about it, I'm like, okay, so what's the backstory? What am I missing? And he had the answers to all of my questions. He knew exactly where he was going with it. It just, that wasn't, he knew not to include that in the story because it would bog the story down. Right. Just knowing that there's an answer and that it's been thought out, that was enough for me, and then if he does more with Bob later on, cool. So.
Yes, we would probably have a couple, at least probably 3 or 4 slots.
So
between 2 and 4.
Having that in mind, what would your guys, as Jamie and Chris both, what would your advice be for any authors looking to get into those anthologies?
Write good stories. Make sure you have other people read it before you submit it, so that you don't send it in with a lot of typos. Because if I can't get through the first page without going, dear God, then it's probably not going to make it in. Typically, we don't have a lot of rules. It'll be between 7 and 10 and this and that. If there's only 3 rules, make sure you follow them, because you're going to get weeded out if you don't, unless your name's Josh Hayes.
Huh?
we let you go long. But for
said.
people that are
That's what she
starting
said.
out, you got to remember this is your job, application. People have been picked up out of the anthologies for longer stories. I mean, look at CKP's history and see how many short stories then became full novels. So show that you're somebody that a publisher can work with by following the rules. Get it in on time, meet all of the requirements, and show that you can follow rules.
Corey Gillum says typos of valor, which I think
Typos
is a
of valor.
super
That's
callback.
funny.
Thank you, Corey.
Fantastic.
Jamie,
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. Basically, I mean, we want stories that are going to be fun, and one of the things that in talking with, I can't remember who, I want to say it was Mike Massa, talking with him about the nature of the short story is that there's got to be some kind of a character growth or character arc, right? The plot becomes a vehicle for your character to grow, and that's what makes people fall in love with the characters. If you're trying to do some plot heavy, many points of view, chaos in 10,000 words or less, then you're going to be trying to do too much, and you won't be able to do any of it well.
Yeah, right.
The tighter you can focus and the more that you can get into the head of your protagonist, the more compelling the story is going to be. And that's
into an editor. Do you like that?
I know. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, now I've read and reviewed and edited 45 some stories for We Dare. I'm starting to understand it a little bit. When I first started writing, the reason I was doing short stories was because I figured they were shorter and I would learn more about the process. And I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a Writer's Tears box on my wall here. And I bought a bottle of Writer's Tears, and I would have one drink for every contract that I signed. And I figured by the time I finished the bottle, I'd be ready to actually write a good novel. I made it about halfway before I did Gunboat.
Nice.
But that was the rule, right? Was practice with the short stories and figure out the art of storytelling before I go and engage on some 100,000 word opus that, as it turns out, is going to be terrible. And so that was the rule.
Well, finishing is a hard
and
thing.
And being able to hit the end at the end is a big deal.
Right. Finishing is a hard time. Yeah.
Just keeping it real.
Yeah.
Keeping it real, guys.
But yeah, like my hard drive is full of stories that I started and never finished until I started writing for Chris and got to actual okay, I know that I have to have the story done if I'm going to do anything with it. And yeah, I mean, that's the most important step, is having a finished manuscript to turn in.
Yep.
Awesome.
Right.
And is there a place they can go to kind of keep an eye out for the announcements for any of these projects?
Join the mailing list at chriskennedypublishing.com.
We'll get that put in the show notes,
and then be part of the factory floor.
Yeah, the factory floor is our Facebook group for non-4HU related CKP stuff, and now we've actually got in one of the Discord servers. Is it yours where we've got the anthologies? Yeah. Okay.
I've been posting, when like Rob's open calls or when Chris has a sci-fi open call. I've been posting them in my Discord server. So
is there something you'd like to share with the link, the audience?
Sure. Yeah. Give me a sec. I'll get you.
No, it's fine. You can send it to me anytime. We can add it to the show notes later.
Okay.
And the neat thing about going to the factory floor is you find out other neat things like, the fact that we're having a Relaxicon in October. FactoryCon 2021.
And Jamie's coming to pick me up for that.
Yes. Yeah, I'll pop by Kansas on my way from Maine down to North
Might
Carolina.
be easier to hop a ride with Rob, but okay.
Right? No, I like to put people out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I put the link for the
I don't know
Facebook
geography
group in the live chat, so people watching now can go and join that group. And it'll be in the show notes as well. So if you're listening on the audio version, it'll be in the notes for you there as well. Guys, this has been a great show. I think this could have been the most slightliest off-color, dirtiest podcast we've ever done, and I think everybody should get.
You say that every time I come on the show. Every time I come on the show, you say that.
We just get better and better, Casey.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's
She's way
what
better
said.
at finishing now.
Sharpening the axe.
It's always great being here because it's always a lot of fun.
Well, we love having you here, and Jamie, we'll definitely have to have you back to focus on you as an author individually. We can talk about your stories and your novels. That will be a good time, I think.
Cool.
Everybody in the live chat, thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. I don't think I missed anyone at all, but thank you guys for joining us this Monday morning. It was a great show, and as always, the live chat provided some great comments.
Sorry about the tea, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're listening,
hey Josh.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, before you do your outro, on our little StreamYard chat over here on the side, I put that Discord link. If you want to throw it in the live chat, people are welcome to come check it out. Just don't be dicks, please, because
copy and paste. There it is. The Discord is now in the link. Click on that and you can go sign up. I'm going to do it myself because I wasn't in the Discord, so I'm going to go sign up now.
Yeah, come hang out. And you can do sprints with us.
You can do sprints with us. It'll be great.
Yes.
You know what? We actually had Joy Wandry, Mark Wandry's wife, doing a knitting sprint with us. Like I was writing and she was knitting.
And it was
awesome. Yeah, because I mean, like the whole thing is we want to encourage and talk about and discuss creativity in all its forms. So yeah, so come hang out and talk about creativity with us.
One of the things that we have another writers group that we're a part of, Scott and I, and one of the things we did early last year, and we want to try to get back into, is we had a thing called The Office. And so in the morning we would log on. Basically, it would be a big video chat, and we would chit chat like at the water cooler for 5-10 minutes, and then we would set a timer for 45 minutes, and we would leave the cameras on and write. And so everybody, it was like kind of like a peer pressure thing, because if you're not writing, people are going to see that you're not writing.
And everybody got creeped out because I stopped writing, just was watching everybody while they were writing. we had to discuss some boundaries,
Yeah. Josh is just like turning off Scott's camera remotely.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And then it got weird.
And then it got weird.
And then
it got weird. Oh, good God. What a fantastic show. I love having you guys here. Everybody in the live chat, thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you're listening on the audio feed, you didn't know, perhaps maybe that you missed that we do a live show Monday mornings, 10 a.m.-ish. Very ish. Sometimes we like to flip it around to keep people on their toes. The Writer's Journey is on Friday at 2 p.m. You don't want to miss that. In 3 weeks, we have, I believe it's Ryan from Plottr coming on the show to talk about his program. I think Plottr is amazing. It's a great idea generation program, even just plotting out your whole book. The app has several different things that you can, if you want to do the snowflake idea, if you want to do a 3-act, all that stuff is laid out with the different things you need to write the story. So I think that's cool. And
he also likes how it makes me send him lots of angry questions about
that. Is true. That is true.
Because that's what I do.
Rumor is Walt will be back soon with Coffee and Concepts. He's been putting in a whole bunch of hours working and writing his own stories, but he's getting back into the groove, and so he should be coming back in the afternoons, I think, for Coffee and Concepts.
Is his situation a secret situation? With
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Well,
okay.
I'll hold off. Maybe I'll let him talk about that on his show. Kayleen Storytime is also running really good on the group, and it's in the live feed too. So we have a lot of shows going on, a lot of different things. James S. Aaron has the Marathon Author, and that'll come on. But everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to take off for now. We'll be back next week. We're going to talk about some reading, some writing, and of course, everything in between right here on Keystroke Medium.
And Keystroke After Dark.
And Keystroke After Dark.